Hi, I'm Jennifer from Unveiled Wife, and today we have Megan with us. And Megan, do you want to share a little bit about who you are?
Sure. My name is Megan Fisher, and I live in Virginia. And I am 35, and I just got married in September. So we've been married for 6 months, and I was a little bit of an older bride, but I just stumbled upon Unveiled Wife through an internet search, and it just has been just a tremendous blessing to me and to my marriage.
Well, congratulations on getting married. That's
Thank you.
awesome.
Yes.
How does it feel to be a new wife?
Wonderful, actually. It was something that I really desired. I had a wonderful example growing up with my own parents' marriage, and my husband was definitely worth waiting for.
That's awesome.
So if there's other, wives out there in the same situation, I just really want to encourage them because it definitely is worth the wait.
Awesome. Well, today we're jumping into Wife After God and specifically chapter 16, which is reverence for Christ.
Uh-huh.
And I would love it if you just shared maybe something that really stood out to you about this chapter.
Well, actually, I think it's not a coincidence that you asked me to kind of meet with you to discuss this because submission is a bit of a challenge for me. So I was kind of pleasantly surprised that you wanted me to kind of share my thoughts on it. Having gotten married older in life, it's something that it's hard for me. Being very independent prior, and what really stood out to me is that Jesus really is that example that he really modeled that for us as wives. So if we can look to that godly example, then we will know how to try that in our marriages and how to strive for that and to how to implement that to empower our husbands to lead. So I think it's a really wonderful way that we can fulfill that helpmate role that the Lord designed us for as wives.
Yeah, and you're not alone in this boat. I know that there's a lot of wives, myself included, that do struggle with submission and what that looks like on a daily basis in marriage. Can you share a little bit about what submission looks like in marriage for you guys?
Sure. I can think of a couple examples. Probably the biggest one, we're new to Virginia as a married couple. So, of course, that brings with, finding a church home. That's something that my husband and I really kind of struggled with because we knew how important that was. And he really was the one that said, you know what, I really think that we need to try this one that actually happened to be close to our home. But beyond just that reason, he said, I really think that this is the place for us. I think we need to look at all that the church has to offer. They've got small groups, there's good biblical counsel there. And I wasn't as easily convinced about that. And I said, well, can't you be, open, or shouldn't we be open to, maybe driving a long way and, or a half an hour or, 45 minutes didn't seem like that big of a deal to me. And he really said, but that's going to affect our ability to have community. That's going to affect our ability to be in small groups. And I thought, there can't be two people kind of heading this boat, so I basically learned to submit to him and to try that. And, I did offer my opinion. We have been going for some time now, and it actually has been working out quite well. But it's not my natural tendency to be submissive. So it's something that I actively have to work on.
That's so cool, and I love your example because I know it's just one example out of many that we could all throw in to talk about. But you mentioned how in the beginning you voiced your opinions and you shared with your husband, your point of view on the matter. And I think that's why some people, have such a hard time with submission because they think that it just requires them to be a doormat or a woman of silence, and that's not the case. We were designed with a mouthpiece, and God has given us the freedom in marriage to voice those opinions. So I think it's important for wives to know that we can share those opinions in a humble and righteous manner with our husbands. But like you said, ultimately, two people cannot head the same, decision or guide the same boat. So I do love that example, and I really appreciate you sharing it. And I hope that the women listening would be able to gain some wisdom from that. So as we continue in this interview, One of the things that I wanted to bring up is Wife After God is all about, our relationship with God and with Christ. How does having a relationship with Christ make it easier to be able to submit to our husbands?
Well, I think that when we submit to Christ, I talked about this a little bit in the beginning, but when we submit to Christ, we're really placing our ultimate, faith in His plan for our lives. I think the beauty of that is that obviously the Lord gave us free will, but His plans and His ways are going to be, I don't want to say the easiest, because we know that they're not, but that it is the best for us. So the stronger I am in my own personal relationship with Him and submitting and practicing that even prior to marriage, practicing, following the Lord's will, that has helped me to remember that and apply that to my marriage. I also think that it builds trust. I think in marriage, being submissive for some of us, that's the ultimate test of our faith. Really believing that we can trust our husbands just like we trust the Lord with our lives. Mm-hmm. So I think that the stronger that we are in our relationship with Jesus and with Christ, it's going to be, I don't want to say easier, but it's going to be easier to maybe implement in our marriages.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like that you mentioned trust, because so much of submission does require that trust, but as you give it and practice submission, that is where trust is built and formed. Mm-hmm. And, if you want a long-lasting marriage built on trust, it does require that submission. So I like how the two go hand in hand.
And I think also the other thing about submission that I think is important to touch upon is that really helps us as wives really empower our husbands. Mm-hmm. And I know in my own marriage, this has been huge for us, that because I am so strong-willed, and I was independent for a very long time. I mean, when I got married, I was 35. My husband is older than me. He's 42. We were very used to doing things our own way, and the concept of the head of the home and, empowering him to be a leader, the leader that I wanted him to be, like, that really does require me to submit to, to him leading, and knowing that he did that through thoughtful prayer and, mm-hmm. Taking my opinions into consideration. But, I heard this example at a conference about submission. I think this is so important to share with wives, because I know it just really helped me. It was a conference that we just went to recently, and the woman that was speaking said, when we, submit to our husbands, he's covering us, he is protecting us, he is sheltering us, and we're submitting to him. It works much better than us being way over here trying to kind of go our own way. So I think if wives can look at the unique role that we have to empower our husbands to fulfill that godly role, and to know that our godly role is to submit and to have a part in that, I think that's so powerful.
That's awesome. And so can you share a little bit about maybe how your husband has responded to the way that you submit to him, and what that is like?
Well, personally, he's very encouraging. My independence has been an issue in the past, but he looks for ways that you did this, and that really meant a lot to me, and I felt stronger because of that. Or he really looks for ways to encourage me to continue that. And I think it's also interesting, Jennifer, how you mentioned in the devotional about submitting to each other. First we submit to Christ, then we submit to each other, and then we're submitting to our husbands. So I feel that he gains momentum in his ability to be the head of the household or the leader when I can become more submissive, and that becomes more second nature to me.
That's beautiful. And I know for my husband, he feels just so respected when when I submit to him. Mm-hmm. It could be over the smallest thing or a really big decision. It doesn't matter. Sure. But he, as the head of our homes, feels respected. And that goes into play. All of this is from Ephesians, but, God calls us wives out to respect our husbands. So in that respect, it's also submitting. And Well, I just love everything that you've shared with us today, and I would love it if you could just share maybe one thing that God's been teaching you lately about marriage or
Mhm.
just life that would inspire the Unveiled Wife community.
Well, just to echo a lot of your sentiments that you have in the devotional and have on Facebook and your blog, that marriage is designed to be this incredible gift. And I just pray that women can just revel in that and recognize our roles in creating that in our home. And it could be something as simple as just establishing the environment in the home. And I just want wives to just be encouraged and empowered and know that we have a role in this. And this was designed to be wonderful for us and to draw us closer to our husbands, and in that process, closer to Christ. And I just want marriages to have a more positive view, like you're doing, all this work that you're doing to encourage that, because I know growing up, I just had a wonderful example of that. And I want more women to desire the beautiful gift that it's designed to be.
Well, thank you so, so much for being here with us today. I really value everything that you had to share. And I'm going to continue to pray for you and your husband on this wild journey you have ahead of you guys. And yeah, just thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.